There are small but mighty things to know when handling people or talking to people. And this is where many people get it wrong. And that's where things fall apart. In this video, I will walk you through all the principles found in How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. So you never make those mistakes again. Let's dive right in.
Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome to the very first video in this playlist, or as you can call it in this episode, where I'm going to be talking about book reviews. And today I'm going to be reviewing this book by Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And it talks about a whole lot of stuff, and don't worry, we're going to dive into it in this video. So this is the layout we're going to be taking it as. So I'm going to be talking about the book, then the summary of the book. I'm going to be talking about the key takeaways or the notes those special things you can take from this book. I'm going to be talking about how it has helped me, maybe the benefit to me, and also who exactly it is for, what exactly you can get from the book as a person. And I'm also giving you maybe like some other recommendations or other stuff about this book. So yeah, so let's dive right into it. So let's talk about the book. So in this book, Dale Carnegie uses different life stories to explain to us the art of winning friends and influencing people. He uses different life stories to bring out different principles, different key principles, in the fundamentals of handling people. And it teaches us three main things. The first one is the 6 ways to make people like you. The second is the 12 ways to win people to your way of thinking. And the third one is the 9 ways to change people without arousing resentment. So these are the three things I'm going to be talking about in this video. So let's dive right into the summary. So first, I'm going to be taking them. So the very first thing I said I was going to talk about is the 6 ways to make people like you. So here we have 6 principles, as the part says, 6 ways to make people like you. And we're going to talk on each of them one by one. The first principle says, become genuinely interested in other people. Become genuinely interested in other people. Now, the Carnegie says something here. It says you can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in you. Becoming genuinely interested in other people. The second principle is smile. So here we're trying to explain to us that our smile is very, very powerful, and that smile is something that actually shows people that yes, you want them to come, and actually makes people want to know you. So that's the way to make people like you. This third principle is to remember that a person's name is to that person the sweetest and most important sound in any language. So here it talks about the importance of a person's name. The fourth principle is be a good listener. Encourage people to talk about themselves. And a quote we can see here is from Disraeli, which he says, talk to people about themselves and they will listen for hours. So you can see you encourage people to talk about themselves, and you talk to people about themselves, they are gonna listen for hours, and also be a good listener. The fifth principle here is to talk in terms of the other person's interest. Obviously, a way to make someone like you is to talk in terms of the other person's interest, because actually because you're talking in terms of them, so they're actually going to listen to you and they want to keep on talking. And the last principle, the sixth one, is to make the other person feel important and do it sincerely. So we have 2 things here. Dr. Dewey said that the deepest urge in human nature is the desire to be important. That is it. The reason why you do anything is the desire to be important. And Dale Carnegie said, if you tell me how you get your feeling of importance, I will tell you what you are. That determines your character, and that is the most significant thing about you, where you get your importance, because that is the deepest urge in human nature, the feeling to be important. So those are the 6 ways to make people like you. And here, let's move on to the second thing. That is how to win people to your way of thinking. So here we have 12 things on 12 principles on how to win people to your way of thinking. The very first one is the only way to get the best of an argument is to avoid it. And it's actually the fact. The Carnegie here tells us that you can't win an argument, and the only way to get the best out of it is just to avoid it. Don't just start it. The second principle says show respect for the other person's opinions. Never say you're wrong, because actually tell someone you're wrong will actually make the person feel like the person is not really gonna like you, because you're just saying you're wrong as if you have never been wrong. So you show respect for the other person's opinions. And the third principle is if you're wrong, admit it quickly and emphatically. So that's something to do that will make someone you understand your way of thinking. And the fourth principle is to begin in a friendly way. So if maybe you want to tell someone that, oh, what you're doing is wrong, you don't just start by shouting at the person, saying, oh, you did this, oh, you did that. You begin in a friendly way before you start any discussion. And the fifth principle is to get the other person saying yes, yes immediately, which means get the other person actually saying yes to what you're saying and actually agreeing with you. And then the sixth principle says, let the other person do a great deal of the talking, which takes us back to the very first thing we talked about, is 6 ways to make people like you. It was like, be a good listener. So you let the other person do a great deal of the talking. That is the sixth principle. So you listen and the person want to keep on talking. And the seventh principle says, let the other person feel that the idea is his or ours. So that is something that's very good. Don't just let everything be directly to you. The person will really want to talk to you. But here it's telling us that let the person feel that the idea is his or ours. So the eighth principle is try honestly to see things from the other person's point of view. It's something very, very important. Because you need to actually put yourself in other people's shoes and understand what you're saying. Dale Carnegie also says something here. He says, people who can put themselves in the place of other people, who can understand the workings of their minds, need never to worry what the future has in store for them. Because this is something very, very powerful. So that is very important. Principle 9 says, be sympathetic with the other person's ideas and desires. So which means you should listen to the person and be sympathetic of that. Now, he also says something here. He says 3/4 of the people you will ever meet are hungering and thirsting for sympathy. Give it to them and they will love you. The 10 principles appeal to the nobler motive. The 11 principles dramatize your ideas, and the 12th principle is to throw down a challenge. Now let's move on to the last part, which talks on being a leader. So how to change people without giving offense or arousing resentment. That is the last thing we're going to talk about. And something about this is that talking about leader now, and something is that a leader's job really has a lot to do. You're leading people. And something about leading people is that it actually adds the two things we talked about before, those two parts. You have to make them to like you. If they don't like you, they won't want to listen to you. And you also have to win the people to your way of thinking. If not, you guys are not going to flow and they won't like you. So being a leader actually has to add all those things. So here you may actually see him talking about the stuff that we've talked about in the parts before. And also a leader's job often includes to change people, to talk to people. Maybe they do something wrong. To be an efficient leader, you have to change the people's attitude and behavior so all of you can work together in unity. So the first principle talks about begin with praise and honest appreciation. This is one of the fundamentals, the basics of handling people. When you begin with praise and honest appreciation, there was a time that we were begin in a friendly way, something like that. Now Dale Carnegie says something powerful here. It says, honest appreciation got results where criticism and ridicule failed, which is very good. And as I said earlier, Dale Carnegie uses a lot of real life stories. So there are a lot of stories in this book that talk about this. So honest appreciation got results where criticism and ridicule failed. The second principle says call attention to people's mistakes indirectly. So really, this is one of the basic principles. Really, you can't someone does something wrong, can't just come and start talking. You have to call it indirectly so the person can actually listen to you. The third principle says talk about your own mistakes before criticizing the other person. No one is perfect. Everyone makes mistakes. So you should talk about your own mistakes before criticizing the other person. Maybe you've done it before, oh, don't worry, I've also been here and this and that. The fourth principle says ask questions instead of giving direct orders. So when you give direct orders, it's somehow showing pride. You shouldn't really do that because no one likes people giving them orders they're just nobody. And also something that Carlyle says is a great man shows his greatness by the way he treats little men. You understand? That's how the great man shows his greatness. So you don't just give direct orders, but it's where you're going to respect the people you're working with. The fifth principle says let the other person save face, which means you shouldn't just for example, someone does something wrong and you just disgrace the person. No, you just think about it. Put yourself in the person's shoes and look at, oh, this is how I can do this to make the person happily, do this and do that. And sixth principle says praise the slightest improvement and praise every improvement. Be hardy in your approbation and lavish in praise. This is one of the very, very important things you need to know. Principles, basic principles in changing people's behavior. When maybe they're doing something wrong, when they actually change, you need to praise them. You need to praise them in the slightest improvement. It gives a lot of stories. I even talked about parent, because parents or your mentor, you're leading someone too. So that's also like being a leader. So it also talks about different stories about that when you're trying to change someone and the person makes this slight improvement, even as a parent, you praise the person, you can see the person wants to keep on doing that. Second principle is give the other person a fine reputation to live up to. Eighth principle is use encouragement, make the fault seem easy to correct. Then last principle from here is make the other person happy about doing the thing you suggest. That is the summary, and we've talked about 3 things now. Those are all the principles under each of them, those basic fundamentals in handling people. So that's the summary about the book, the different things, because in the book it actually summarizes everything after every chapter is in a nutshell, and everything under that in a nutshell, and all the principles. And if you can see, there's a way Dale Carnegie does the stuff that's very, very easy to understand. There's no need for too much explanation. It's just basic stuff you need to know when you want to handle people, and ways to make people like you, and the 12 ways to win people to your way of thinking, and the 9 ways to change people without arousing resentment. And what are the exact key takeaways or notes that we actually see from this book? So key takeaways, let's look at all of them that I noted from this book. The first one I see is everyone wants a feeling of importance, and everything we do is for a sense of importance. This is actually the truth. Dale Carnegie said, as I've seen before, he said, if you tell me how you get your feeling of importance, I'll tell you what you are. It determines your character, and it is the most significant thing about you. Another one is exclusive attention to the person who is speaking to you is very important. I've seen this twice. When you listen to the person, when you give the person attention, the person won't keep talking and talking. The person will feel that connection with you. And another one is there is stupendous power in sincere and heartfelt appreciation. Another one is the only way on earth to influence other people is to talk about what they want and show them how to get it. When you talk about the person's interest. Another one is the effect of a smile is powerful, even when it is unseen. Wow. Another one is one of the simplest and most important ways of gaining goodwill is by remembering names and making people feel important. I've seen name is one of the most unique name, it's the most unique name to someone, you understand? Another one is you aspire to be a good conversationalist, be an attentive listener. Another one is the most important rule in the world is do unto others as you would have others to do unto you. Even shown in the Bible, understand? So do unto others as you have other people to do unto you. So those are the key takeaways, the keynotes we're taking from this book. So how exactly is this book to me? How has it actually helped me now? I've been talking about the summary, but what do I actually think about it as well? This book is really, really good, and it shows me the principles of basics of human communication, everything you need to know to get started. Maybe you want to be a good conversationalist. This book tells you all the principles, everything you need to know. So I really like this book. The way it uses stories and makes everything so easy to understand. I love this book. It shows me the basics and everything you need to know for effective human communication. So I really love that about this book. So who exactly is this book for? Well, it will be good for someone that wants to learn how to handle people, how to make people like you. If you want to get into maybe you want to travel the world or go to different places and you want to know how to relate with people, this is a book that is very, very good that you really need to check out, because it teaches you how to handle people, how to speak to people, how to make people like you, how to win people to your way of thinking, the fundamentals, the basics of human communication. You want to be a good conversationalist, you want people to keep on listening to you for hours, or you want to all the things you need to know. So check out the book. So it's a very good book. At the back of this book, you can still find some other books by Dale Carnegie. How to stop worrying and start a living, Lincoln the Unknown, the quick and easy way to effective speaking, the Dale Carnegie's craft book, and different stuff. Don't grow old, grow up. There are different books that Dale Carnegie has written, and if this book is good, be sure to check those ones out too. Check the description. You can find some of my because I have a Notion account, so anytime I read a book, I normally review the book. So I'm going to put the link into the review of this book, the full review of this book, all the quotes and everything I got from this book, the key takeaways, the notes, and the summary in the description. So please check the description, and you'll be able to see different stuff that you could actually use later in the future. So thank you so much for listening to this video. I hope you really gain something from it. If you really like it, please leave a comment down below, and please don't forget to subscribe, because it will really do well in the YouTube algorithm. Thank you so much. Please come back for more reviews, and thank you. Bye.
A sub to the channel will be of great help to me, as these videos go a long way and a long process before uploading. So thank you, and God bless you as you subscribe, and check the description for goodies. Also, if you really like this video, you can click on the notification bell icon so you get instant notifications immediately I upload a new video. Cool, right? Bye. Bye.